Gun violence is a serious issue that affects all people of different ages and backgrounds. Every day, communities are changed by shootings that lead to loss of life, injuries, and long-lasting traumas. In 2023, there was a recorded 17,927 murders, 23,700 suicides, 659 mass shootings, 38 school shootings, and 36,562 injuries due to gun violence. Here are a few officials talking about gun violence in different ways.
Perpetrators were overwhelmed by something happening in their life. It could have been a job loss or the loss of a relationship or a mental health crisis, something that really kind of pushed them over the edge. And a mass shooting is designed to be their final act. Nobody does a mass shooting and tries to escape. They either plan to be killed by police, kill themselves, or just kind of sit.
Interviews with the perpetrators' family members and people that knew them tell us that leading up to the shooting, the behaviors of the perpetrator were a form of death and despair.
That guns have now become the leading cause of death for children in America. According to the CDC, in 2020, the most recent year's statistics are available. 4,368 American babies, children, and teens died from gunfire. That's 12 kids every day, an increase of nearly 30% over the previous year.
Post-2020, U.S. cities saw dramatically elevated homicide gun rates, remaining very high still through 2023. In just 2025 alone, there's been over 1,400 children and teenagers' deaths, ages 0 to 17, in gun violence, and more than 3,700 injured in the United States just this year.
Interview with Lieutenant Peter Daly from the Hanson Police Department. There are not a lot of shootings in mass as there are in other states. Why is that?
Well, I mean, anything can happen, right? But one of the reasons why Massachusetts does not have a lot of shootings is because we have one of the strictest gun laws in the nation, in the world. So I'm the firearms licensing officer at the Hanson Police Department, and if someone wants to be a licensed person, they have to be over 21. They have to go through a background check. They have to go through a basic firearm safety course. They have to have a mental health check done on them. We do a criminal background check. They have to be fingerprinted. Once being fingerprinted, gets sent out to all policing and law enforcement agencies throughout the nation. Someone could come to me and say, I want my license to carry, which is a gun permit. And they could say, like, I've never been in trouble before. And when I take their fingerprints, if they've ever been fingerprinted any other place in the United States, that will come back to me. If they were fingerprinted for, say, shoplifting, which would not be a deniable offense, I can deny their license because they were untruthful on their applications. So there's a lot that goes into our licensing that some states, if you're over 18 years old, you go in, they do a background check. The background check is done maybe in an hour, maybe 2 hours, and then you leave that store with a gun.
So it's like different for each state?
Yes, there are different general laws, and each state makes up their own laws. So that is one of the biggest issues with gun violence, is the lack of restrictions that a lot of states have.
So one thing that could resolve this issue is if other states take action on changing laws about guns. Interview with attorney Douglas E. Fireberg.
What do you do to help ensure that your victim gets justice, but also be mindful of the trauma that they've experienced?
We assist the family to the extent we can, getting counseling with qualified professionals. That's what's going on in the background as we're doing often other things. The other is centrally the way you interact with people that have experienced these things. At the end of the day, they were absolutely informed about the path for justice.
As many know, being affected by gun violence is something no one can truly understand until it happens to you or a loved one. It affects the rest of your life, no matter how you go about it, so it is very important to seek help when you need it.
Our last interview with Easton Public School Resource Officer Chris Aker.
What are some common warning signs before a gun violence incident?
That depends on the circumstance. Out on the street, you might not have any warning, or there could be warning signs. Someone who's thinking about committing violence, when they're talking to you, they may suddenly change their body to a bladed stance. If they're really angry and they're thinking about violence, they might be clenching their fists. Body language is huge. A lot of times the information that would come from a student that might want to commit violence on other students or whatever in the building, that's going to come from the students. And it's usually going to come through social media. Social media is the devil, because our kid hears a kid say something, they tell their friend who tells their friend, and next thing you know, the kid has a whole arsenal and he's going to shoot up the school. And that's not what happened. It was a conversation that was taken out of context or whatever. We still look into it as if it's real, and we do everything we can to make sure that everybody's safe. You have to be careful, right? We would much rather a kid say something than not say something.
We can see that early warning signs of people that are about to act on gun violence are their changes in behavior and mood.